and how to create our own web services, and which is used to get the records from the Salesforce instance into the third-party systems we have discussed by using the HTTP GET method. Now, so by using this HTTP GET method, the third-party system can able to invoke this web service, and it can able to get the records from this Salesforce instance. But in few cases, I want to pass the parameters to that web service. That means whenever I'm invoking this web service, it will be returning only those records whose location is equals to Bangalore. Only those records whose location is equals to Bangalore. Now, so in this case, we are able to fetch the hiring managers who are working in Bangalore location. Suppose if I'm invoking this web service 2 times, it will return the same records. Only the Bangalore HR people's records it will return. But sometimes I want Hyderabad HR people's information. In some cases, I want Chennai people's information. In some cases, I want Mumbai HR people's information. That means I will pass the location to my web service at runtime. Based on that location, it has to return the respective hiring managers to me. Now, in this case, what I want to do, I want to pass some parameters. I will give some input to my web service. Based on that input value, it should return only those records. Like for example, I want a web service, okay, to get the account records, where I want to pass that rating value at runtime. If I'm passing the rating value like as heart, it should return only the heart rating account records to me. If I'm passing the rating as warm, it has to return only warm rating account records to me. If I'm passing rating value cold, it has to return only the cold rating account record to me. That means depends upon the input value which I have supplied, it has to return only those records. Like for example, let's come to a scenario. Assume that I'm searching for some flights information by using Make My Trip. By using this makemytrip.com, by using this makemytrip.com, I can able to get some flights information. So depends upon the input values, like as from location and then to location. Okay, from location and the to location, and along with that the departure date and then the number of passengers to be get traveled. Okay, number of passengers to be get traveled here. I'm indicating the date as okay December 3rd. So I would like to travel from Hyderabad to Bangalore, okay, on 3rd of December, okay, only for one passenger. Once you click on search, it will return only those flights information, okay, only those flights information, okay, which are traveling from Hyderabad to Bangalore on 3rd of December, okay. So whatever the vacancies are available, it will be returning those information. Because flights are not only running from Hyderabad to Bangalore, flights are running all over the India and the international level also. But I don't want all those flights information. I want only those flights information who are starting from origin from Hyderabad and going to that Bangalore on 3rd of December. It will be filtering that. That means depends upon the input values, like as from location to location and the departure date and the number of passengers. So based on that, it will go to the respective the aviation organization's database. It will be collecting the respective flights information, and then those flights information will be getting visible to you over here. That means when you click on this search button, it is connecting to the respective okay aviation organization's database through a web service. Through a web service, it is going to be collecting the required information. The whole information it is going to be arranging in the form of a tabular format, so that we can see all the flights information which are arising from Hyderabad to Bangalore on December 3rd. Okay, so which will be having at least one vacancies available inside that. Now, so like the similar way here also, I would like to create a web service. Okay, I would like to create a web service. That web service should receive one parameter. Based on that parameter, it has to provide the respective information to that client. So now in this case, what happened? How to pass the parameters to the web service? So in order to pass the parameters to the web service, we are going to be using the help of a class called as REST context class. REST context class. So what exactly the REST context class? REST context is a ready-made class which has been given by Salesforce, which provides a secured communication channel between the provider and the consumer. It will establish a secured channel. It will establish a communication mechanism between the provider to the consumer. Between the provider and the consumer, it is establishing a secure channel where the consumer can able to provide some input parameters, and based on that input, it will be collecting the respective data. The data will be returning back to the consumer. Now, so in this case, the consumer is going to be providing some input parameters. The consumer is going to be providing some input parameters to the provider, so that the provider will be receiving that input parameters. Based on that input, it is providing the respective required data to that consumer. Now, so for that reason, inside this REST context class, we have two more inner classes are available. Okay, we have two more inner classes are available. Those are called as REST request and the REST response. Two classes are available. Now, let's see. REST context class. Now, REST context class will provide a communication mechanism. A communication mechanism between the consumer and the provider. Between the consumer and the provider, so that consumer can provide the input parameters to the provider. Then provider will collect the required data based on the input parameters, and will send the response back to the consumer. So that consumer can able to pass the input parameters, okay, to the provider. So the provider will be receiving those input parameters. Based on that input parameters, so whatever the matching records are available, only those matching records it will collect from the database. The data will be sending back to that consumer. Now, so now here in this case, how can we pass? So whenever we are going to be passing that, okay, whenever we are passing the input parameters to this provider, then the provider is going to be collecting that information in the form of two inner classes. Now, so what are those two inner classes? Now let's see. It contains two inner classes. As below. First one, REST request class. Second one, REST response class. We have two inner classes are available here. So now let's see what exactly is a REST request class and the REST response class. So whatever the input the consumer has provided, okay, whatever the input the consumer has provided, that input parameters will be there inside this REST request class. So this class is used to make a request to the RESTful web service, and we can supply the required input parameters to the service. So whatever the input we are supplying, okay, whatever the input we are supplying from the consumer to the provider, that means whatever the input parameters you are passing, that input parameters will be storing inside this REST request class, okay, in the form of key value pair collection, like as map, like as map. It will store that information in the form of map collection format, like as key and the value pair. Now, then how can we collect that information over here? Now let's see. Now let me explain the REST request class. Now, this class is used to make a request to the RESTful web service. This class is used to make a request to the RESTful web service by passing the required input parameters. By passing the required input parameters. Now, in this case, whatever the parameters we're supplying, all those parameters will be storing inside a property called as params property, which will be holding these input parameters in the form of key and the value pair collection. Now, it will store the input parameters in the form of key value pair collection. Key value pair collection. It will store the input parameters in the form of key value pair collection, where key is the parameter name and value is a parameter value. Parameter value which we are supplying over here. Now, so now here in this case here, so how can we collect this one? Whenever we are sending this information to that web service will be collecting this REST request class, and then it is collecting the input parameters. How it is collecting the input parameters? Okay, these input parameters will be collecting in the form of, okay, a property called as params property. There is a property called as params. Now, this property contains all the input parameters in the form of key value pair collection. Key value pair collection. Now, the web service will collect the input values from the REST request and get the required matching data based on the input values. Then how can we collect that syntax here? How can we use this? We are going to be using like this. So whenever if you want to collect this information, now, so we are going to be using the help of this like this. REST context dot request dot params. Okay, REST context dot request dot params. So this property is going to be returning the input parameters in the form of key value pair collection, where we can able to store in the form of map. Parameter name, which is also a string. Parameter value is also in the form of string. We can able to specify. We can specify the collection. You may be passing n number of parameters also. All those parameters are going to be storing in the form of this map collection. Okay. Now, in this case here, REST request class is used to make a request to the RESTful web service. Upon making a request to the RESTful web service, we can pass some parameters also. So that web service may be expecting some input parameters. So whatever the values you are going to supply, we have to pass those parameters to the RESTful web service in the form of REST request class. REST request class is used to pass the parameters to the RESTful web service in the form of map collection, where each and every parameter will be having two things: parameter name, parameter value. Parameter name is also of type string, parameter value is also of type string. So in this case, okay, now here in this case, we can able to pass this parameter name and the parameter value in the form of key value pair collection, like as a map collection we can able to supply. Now, in this case, so once the request has been getting processed, then to get that response, okay, to send that response back, we are using REST response class. So what is the use of this REST response class? This class is used to collect the response from the web service. This class is used to collect the response from the web service. In order to collect the response from the web service, we are going to be using the help of this REST response class. So these are the two classes which we are using. As of now, we have prepared the RESTful web service without any parameters. We haven't supplied any parameters as of now, but now I would like to pass the parameters. So then how to pass the parameters to the RESTful web service? Now let's see. Now, let's see in this case, how can we do this? Let me take a small use case. And how can we pass these parameters to the RESTful web service? Let me show you with some different examples. For example, assume that I would like to define a web service. Okay, I would like to define a web service. So which will be collecting the information. Okay, which will be providing the information to that consumer based on that case number. So the input parameter, that means the consumer will be providing one case number. Then based on that case number, the web service should provide that respective case record. Okay, respective case record. Then how to do this one? Now let's see practically. Now, let's take a small use case. Like a simply parameterize the procedures only, nothing different, no change. Parameterize the procedures only, just a small change, that's it, nothing else. Because here to get the input parameters, we are using REST context class, that's it. Now, create a RESTful web service to get the case details based on the supplied case number at runtime. So whatever the case number that have supplied at runtime, based on that case number, I would like to collect the respective case detail. How can we collect this information? Now let's see. So let me create a RESTful web service. Case manager helper. I'm creating a class. Then what needs to be done? First of all, we need to make that class should be defined with an access specifier called as global. class should be a global class, because here this is a web service class which we are going to implement. Now this class can be consuming by the third-party applications. Now, so in this case here, give that resource name. So that I'm using REST resource. REST resource, specify the parameter. URL mapping equals to, I'm indicating case details service. I'm giving that resource name as case details service /star. I'm preparing a RESTful web service. Okay, I'm preparing a RESTful web service with the name, okay, case details service. This is the resource name, and which should be collecting a case record I number. Based on that number, it has to return the respective case record. Now here I'm indicating global case. I'm going to be returning that case record based on that case number. Now global case. So now here I'm going to be indicating this. But that already we have discussed, each and every web service and method should be in the form of a static. So that I'm indicating static. Get case record by number. Get case record by number. So I'm going to preparing the method by using this. Okay, the method name as get case record by number. So now this is going to be returning the case record. So return type is case. So this method is going to be returning the case record. So that I'm using HTTP get. Okay, HTTP get method, which is going to be used to collect that case records information. Now, so in this case, what needs to be done? So now the consumer is going to be providing the case number. So that case number we have to collect here, right? Okay, based on that case number only, we need to collect the respective case records, and we need to return that case records to that respective consumer. Now, so in this case, whatever the input they have supplied, whatever the input they have supplied. So we need to collect that input over here. Now, so now here in this case, now collect that input. I'm using that REST context dot request dot params. REST context dot request dot params. I'm going to be collecting these input parameters in the form of string, so that I'm using map of string comma string, because whatever the input parameters you are supplying at runtime, those input parameters will be available in the form of key value pairs. So that I'm going to be defining that parameters in the form of map collection key value pair. So now here I'm indicating input params. So once the parameters has been getting collected, you are passing the case number. Okay, you are passing the case number here. I would like to collect this case number. Okay, based on this case number, I would like to pass that. I would like to collect the respective details. So whatever the case number we have supplied, suppose for example, I'm passing the parameter name, okay, case number. I'm giving the value, okay, 001026. For example, this is the case number. So this is the key and this is the value. We can give any parameter name over here, like some C number also, we can specify. Okay, now this will be storing. Okay, this particular parameter name will be storing in the form of key, and this value will be storing in the form of value part. So based on the key, we need to collect the respective value over here. Now let's see. So now here I'm going to be collecting this information. Now I'm collecting the data. Select ID of the case, case number, status of the type, priority, origin, reason, subject, description from the case object, where case number equals to. I need to collect that case number where it is available inside this input params. Input params, this is a map collection dot get. I would like to pass the key. What is the key name? For example, I'm indicating the key name as C number, case number. So based on this key, that means here this is the get method. What the get method will do, whatever the key we have supplied for the key, whatever the value is there, that value will be returning by this get method. So whatever the parameter we have supplied, I'm indicating the key. That means this is the key. Based on this key, the get method is going to be collecting the value of this. That value we are comparing with the case number. I'm going to be storing inside my case object. Case record. Now, so once the case record is available, I would like to return case record. Return case record. That's it. So that means what? As of now, we have executed the SQL query directly. We are passing the data to that consumer. But now I don't want to pass all the records. I would like to pass only some specific matching records. So the consumer will provide some input parameters. Consumer is providing some input parameters. So based on that input parameters, I would like to get the matching records. Those matching records I would like to return back to the consumer. Now, so in this case here, I'm collecting the input parameters. Whatever the input parameters has been given by the consumer, that input parameters are storing inside the REST request class, so that I'm using REST context dot request dot param. This is the params property which will be holding all the input parameters sent by the consumer in the form of key and the value pairs. So I'm storing that result in the form of a map collection. From there, based on that key, I'm collecting the value. With that value, I'm getting the matching records, and those matching records I'm returning back. Okay, now let's see how can we test this RESTful web service. Now, this is my resource name. In order to test this resource, we are going to be using this workbench tool. Go to that workbench tool. Go to that workbench. Click on login with Salesforce. Now go to the REST Explorer. So how can we invoke that? We can specify /services /apex rest / what is that resource name? My resource name is case of details service. And along with that, we are passing one parameter. Give an exclamation, okay, /symbol / give a question mark. That means, so not only invoking this service is expecting some parameters. So what is that parameters? You can specify. This is the parameter name, C number. We can able to pass that parameter name also. Parameter name. Let's take any of that case records, okay, number. Let me go to that case record number over here. Let me take any of that case record number. Suppose, for example, I'm going to be passing this number. Okay, this is the number which I'm passing. I'm passing it over here. 00001016. This is the case number. Okay, I'm passing that case number. Whenever I'm passing the case number, that is the parameter name. Based on this case number, it will return that respective record. Click on execute. Now let's see. Whatever the case number we have supplied, only that respective case details it is providing to me. This is the case record ID. This is the number of that case. This is the status, type, and the priority, origin, reason, and the subject. There is no description is available for the case, so it is providing that empty, nothing. If you want to see this response in the form of JSON format, select this show raw response. You can able to see that response. So this is the response here which we have received. Okay, this is the response which we have received from that web service in the form of JSON format. So this response we can able to pass by using JSON parser classes, and we can store inside our database wherever you want.
How third-party server people will get this record?
Now they will be getting in the form of this JSON format only. Okay. Third party people will get that response in the form of this JSON format. They have to parse. Like suppose if you are using some Java, through Java, if you are invoking this particular web service, then you will be getting the response in the form of this particular JSON format. So as part of Java, you will be having some JSON parsing classes are available. We have to use those JSON parser classes. We have to parse this content, get each and every parameter value, store in your database or show on your Visual Force page, wherever you want, you can do that.
But how they will know the case number?
Now, so now they should be aware of the case number over here, because for the testing purpose, I am giving the case number. Okay.
Okay.
Here I'm giving that case number. They can able to search for the case. Like for example, come to a general scenario. Assume that I went to that ATM center to withdraw some money. I have swiped that card by using that ICICI Bank ATM. I went to that. Okay. I'm having this ICICI Bank debit card is available with me. I went to that Axis Bank ATM. Because I don't have ICICI Bank branches in my hometown, so I went to that Axis Bank ATM. In that one, I have swiped that card. What the ATM machine will do, it will read my card number, then it will pass the card number to the ICICI Bank application. That means it is passing one input parameter. What is that card number? That's it, it will pass the card number. So then the ICICI Bank application will receive the card number. Based on the card number, it is going to be collecting the respective data, like as a card number, card name, the PIN number also, and along with that, it is going to be collecting the respective balance information and the name of the customer, whether the account is active or not. It will collect the whole information. This information is passing to the Axis Bank application. Then Axis Bank application will verify if the account is active or not. If the card is valid or not. Then if the card is valid, it will be going to be showing that remaining operations over here. It will go ahead, or else it will indicate that card is a blocked card or it is an invalid card, like that. So that here, whenever we are going to be interacting with one application, we are going to providing some input parameters here. Based on that input, we can able to get the respective data. Here I have tested for that case number. But when you go to that, you can able to pass any other parameters also. I will show you that some more example. Okay.
Okay.
So how can we store this data in our database? I mean, in the third-party application database.
Now at that time we have to use database connections. We can use database connections and then store the data in the form of a record.
Okay. So are you going to show that? I mean, as part of our class?
No, we are not using any third-party applications. Okay, I will show you from Salesforce to Salesforce. Okay, two Salesforce accounts. I will show you how to use that.
Okay.
Now, let me place this code. It's a HTTP GET method. Now, so let me take one more, okay, small use case. Let me take one more example. For example, assume that I want to prepare a RESTful web service to collect the account records information from the account object. Then what I will supply the industry name. Okay, I will supply industry name. I will pass industry name, banking, finance, insurance, anything, whatever you want, you can supply. If I'm passing banking, it has to return banking records. If I'm passing finance, it has to return finance records. If I'm passing insurance, it has to return insurance records, like that. Then how can we do this here? Depends upon the input values which we have supplied, we need to collect that information. Let's see what we can do. Let's take a small use case. Create a RESTful web service. Create a RESTful web service to get all the customers' information from the object based on the specified industry name. Based on the specified industry name at runtime.
So can we use SOSL queries here? In the,
No, not SOSL, SOQL. Okay, now. So now here in this case, I would like to pass the industry name. Based on that industry name, whatever the matching industry account records are available, I would like to fetch. Now, let's see practically in this case. Let me create a web service. Accounts search helper. Accounts search helper. I'm creating a RESTful web service class now. So this is the class name which I have given right now. So as the initial step, we have to make that class as global. And then specify the resource name. I'm indicating the REST resource. I'm providing that parameter URL mapping equals to / search accounts. Search accounts service /star. So I'm creating a RESTful web service by giving a resource name as search accounts service. I'm preparing a method. Global static. It will be returning list of accounts. Based on that matching industry, whatever the account records are available, those records will be returning by this web service. So that I'm giving the return type as list of account. Get accounts by industry. Get accounts by industry. So I'm going to be defining this method as a get method, HTTP get, because this method is used to get the required resources, get the required information from that Salesforce. In order to get the required information from this Salesforce, we are going to be using this HTTP get. Now, so what I need to do in this case here? So first of all here, the consumer is going to be providing some input parameters. So what he will supply? Industry name. Whatever the industry name he has supplied, that industry name I would like to collect, and then based on that industry, whatever the accounts are available, I would like to fetch from the database by making an SQL query. Those records I would like to return it back to that consumer. Now, in this case here, I'm going to be collecting that input parameter, so that I'm using map of string comma string. Now I'm indicating input params equals to REST context dot request dot params. So whatever the input parameters we have supplied from the consumer to the RESTful web service, we are collecting that input parameters. We are storing in the form of a map collection. Now, and from there we can able to collect that industry parameter. Based on that industry parameter value, we can able to fetch the respective records. So I'm going to be collecting this record. List of account LST accounts equals to, I'm collecting the record. Select the ID of the account, name, rating, industry, annual revenue, phone, tax, type, customer priority, active status from account where industry name industry equals to, we can able to collect that parameter value. How can we collect? Input params dot get of, we can able to pass the parameter name. I'm indicating here industry name, IND name. This is the parameter name. So I'm going to be taking up the parameter name as IND name. So based on this parameter name, they would like to pass the value. Now, based on that industry name, I'm collecting the respective account records, and those records I would like to return it back to that consumer. So I'm returning that. Return LST accounts. I'm returning those account records. So now my web service is ready. Now I need to invoke this web service by using this resource name by passing the parameter with this name. IND name is my parameter. Then how can we test it now? Let's see. So let's go to that workbench. Give that resource name here. Give the resource name. Set accounts to service slash. Give a question mark because I'm passing some parameters. What is the parameter name? IND name, industry name equals to, I'm indicating like some banking. We can pass any industry name. I'm indicating the industry name as banking. So with this banking industry, how many records are available? Those records will be getting returned to you. Click on execute. Now we can able to collect 2 account records are there. This is the first account which is having industry banking. And this is the second account which is having the industry banking. Suppose for example, I'm passing like some energy. Only the energy related account records will be getting returned. 4 accounts are available with the industry energy. If I'm passing some finance, when you click on execute, it returns some finance related account records. If I'm passing some manufacturing related account records will be getting returned. 2 records are there. If I'm passing some education related account records will be getting returned over here. Like that depends upon the industry name which we have supplied, we can able to fetch. Like the similar way only they have implemented MakeMetric website. They will pass the parameters to that respective web service. They're collecting the data. They're going to be representing on their website. Okay. Now,
so can we send all account records?
Yes. Previously we have discussed, right? All the account records we have collected, right? In the previous session, we have collected all the account records.
Okay.
Okay, but how to filter instead of getting all, if you want to fetch only something based on some conditions, this is the mechanism we have to use.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now.
Sir, in SQL, SQL queries, can we use 2 objects?
Sorry?
Can we use 2 objects in SQL queries?
Yes, we can fetch the data from multiple objects also by using relationship queries. That means those objects should be related. If the objects are independent, it won't support. Objects should be related.
Okay. Can you give some example to?
Yeah, I will show that one. Okay, when you go to that, okay, relationship queries concept, I will give you that examples as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, this is how we can able to pass the required parameters, okay, to your web service at runtime. Depends upon that input parameters which was supplied, we can able to fetch the respective records from your object. Okay, now I'm giving some assignments on this. Now, create a RESTful web service to fetch all the cases based on the specified priority. So whatever the priority I have supplied at runtime, based on that priority, I would like to get the respective cases. Next. Create a RESTful web service to fetch all the hiring managers based on the specified location name. Based on the specified location. Next. Create a RESTful web service to fetch all the lead records whose status is or based on the specified status. Based on the specified status. Fourth one. Create a RESTful web service to fetch all the opportunities based on the specified account name. I am passing the account record name, but I want the respective opportunities. Fifth one. Create a RESTful web service to fetch all the positions based on the specified hiring manager. I will pass the hiring manager name. Based on that hiring manager name, I want to get the related positions. Okay. So this is what the requirement here. I will pass some hiring manager name. Based on that hiring manager name, whatever the related positions are available, I would like to fetch. These are 5 use cases. Okay, as part of this get method. Now, the next one is HTTP delete. Now, so in this case, so what is this HTTP delete method? HTTP delete method is used to perform the delete operation on your Salesforce instance through the RESTful web services. So by using this method, we can remove either one or more number of records from the object. Based on the specified input, we can fetch the respective records from the object and we can able to remove. That means the third-party application is giving some input. Based on that input, we will collect that respective matching records. Those records we can able to delete by using this HTTP delete annotation. Then, how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, let's see the practical part. By using this method, we can fetch the related records from the object based on the supplied input parameters. Based on the supplied input parameters. And we can remove the record from the object. And we can remove the records from the object. So we can remove one or more number of records. We can remove either one or more records from the object by using this method. Then how can we use this one? What is the syntax of this method? So upon preparing this method, we have to specify this particular HTTP delete annotation. Now let's see the syntax. @HTTP delete, specify the method name, global static. You can specify the return type, specify the method name. Specify the method name. Here you can write the business logic. Write the business logic to remove the records. In order to remove the records from the object, whatever the business logic is required, we can able to write that business logic. Okay, now. So let's see practically in this case, how can we do that? Let me show you. For example, assume that I'm having my account record, sample test account. I'm having this account. So whatever the account record that we have, if I'm passing the account record name, based on this name, it has to remove that account record. Okay, whatever the account record name that I have supplied, based on that name, it has to remove that record from my account object. How can we do that? Now let's see. Now take a small use case. Create a RESTful web service to remove the account records from the object based on the supplied account name at runtime. Depends upon the account record name which I have supplied at runtime. I would like to fetch the respective account records, and those records I would like to remove. Now, let's see how can we do this. I'm creating a RESTful web service. Here I'm preparing @HTTP delete. HTTP delete. Global static. I'm giving that return type as string because I want to indicate records has been removed or not. Now, delete accounts by name. Whatever the account records name that has supplied, based on that account record name, I would like to remove those records from my object. Now, so based on this account number which we have received, I would like to fetch the related account records and then I would like to delete those records. Because with the same name, you may be having multiple accounts also. We might be having multiple account records with the same name. So whatever the account records are available with that name, I would like to collect those records, I would like to remove. For that one, we are going to be using this method which will be having the annotation HTTP delete. This method is going to be performing the delete operations inside this method. Now let's collect that input parameter here. Map of string comma string. Map inputs equals to, I'm indicating rest context dot request dot params. Now I'm collecting the input parameters. Based on that name, I would like to fit the respective matching account records. List of account, lst accounts equals to, I would like to indicate. Select the ID of the account, name of the account record, comma rating, comma industry from account, where name equals to map inputs dot get of, we can pass the parameter name. So what is that parameter name you would like to use? I'm going to be indicating this parameter name here. I'm indicating ACC name. This is the parameter name. Depends upon this parameter name, whatever the account records are available, I would like to collect those account records and those records I would like to remove. So that I'm indicating if LST accounts is not empty. Remaining story is same. Okay, the same code, nothing different. If the collection is not empty, I would like to remove. Delete LST accounts. And then I want to return records are deleted. Else, if the records are not empty, I would like to specify return no matching records found. No matching records found. Now, so I would like to collect those account records. If the collection is not empty, then I am going to be deleting these records here. Once the records has been deleted, I want to return this message as, okay, records are deleted. Now, if the records are not found, then I want to show the message no matching records found. Okay, so this is how I would like to send the response back to the third party system. Now, so now let's see how can we do this one. So how can we test this RESTful web service? Now let's see practically. So let me invoke this web service now. The resource name is what? Same, because this is also there in the same class. Okay, but the method type is get. So the delete method. I'm using this same resource. I'm using this method type as the delete. Select that method type as the delete method. Now we have to specify the parameter name. ACC name equals to, I would like to pass the account record name. I'm passing this account record name here. I'm passing this account record name. Select the method type as the delete. This is the method. Click on execute. So once you click on execute, it is giving the confirmation back to you. Records are deleted successfully. Records deleted successfully. It is indicating show raw response. We can able to get the message records deleted. Whatever the record that we have specified with this name, that record has been deleted successfully. When you refresh this user interface, it will be indicating record deleted. So when you go to the recycle bin, we can able to see that record here. So we have two records are available with the same name. So both the records has been deleted successfully inside this object. Now, suppose for example, I want to remove one more record here. Rajesh Kumar. This is the record that we have. I'm passing this. I'm passing this record name. Rajesh Kumar. Click on execute. Record will be deleted. Record has been deleted successfully. So just to refresh this user interface, you can able to see record has been deleted. Record is no more. Like that, here we can able to remove the record. For example, I'm giving that record name as simply Rajesh. Okay, record name SEC name equals to some Sampath. I don't know, record may be there, record may not be there. Click on execute. Now it is indicating no matching records found. It is giving the message no matching records found. When you go to the raw response, we got that message no matching records found. Like that, depends upon the requirement, we can able to test with all the possible cases. This is how we are going to performing delete operations.
Sir, without equal to, can we use in or like operator here?
No, we can't use. Here we have to give that equal to symbol only here.
Okay. So in case of like
in and everything we have to write inside this particular logic. In this logic we have to write over here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
This is the method. Now let me give you a few assignments on this. Create a RESTful web service to remove the hiring manager based on the specified name. Based on the name, I would like to collect that hiring manager record from the object I would like to remove. Next. Create a RESTful web service to remove all the related cases from the object based on the specified account name. I will pass account record name. Based on that name, whatever the related account contacts or related cases are available, I want to remove all. Next. Create a RESTful web service to remove all the related contacts based on the account name. I will pass the account name. Based on that account record name, I want to remove the related contacts. Okay, related contacts. To get the contacts, we need account ID. So, but I'm passing account name. Based on that name, make one SQL query, get the related contacts over, get the account ID over there. Based on that account ID, get the related contacts and then remove those contacts. Okay, two SQL queries we have to write. Okay, now try these assignments today. Tomorrow we are going to be discussing about the update That means how to do that insertion, that means the post method, how to use that patch method, we'll see, and the put method also. That means update, insert, and then upsert. All these three operations we'll see, so that we can complete this web services concept tomorrow. And then in the next week, we'll see, okay, how can we parse? Okay, how can we parse this content? We'll see by using JSON parser classes in the next week. Okay, tomorrow we have the session at same time, okay, 9:30. Okay, please be available at 9:30. Use the same meeting link to join the session tomorrow also. Okay, so
Thanks.
before that, complete this assignment so that you can feel comfortable with this programming.
Are these timings going to be permanent until you finish the integration, or it's just for this week?
So no, madam, because here few people are attending some lightning session. That's what here these timings will be the fixed one. Only Saturday and Sunday will be having 9:30 to 11:30.
Okay, I think some of the